At first glance, this image appears to be nothing more than a snapshot from a fairly average-looking house party. The typical young people gathered around in a dimly lit room, laughing and hanging out. A red solo cup stands out in the foreground, and two teenage boys smile into the camera. One of them is clearly the center of attention. That boy is Tyler Hadley. And what the people at the party didn't know, and the people looking at this photo don't know, is that Tyler had just committed an unspeakable crime. Tyler's parents, Mary Jo and Blake Hadley, were dead. They were murdered by their son with a hammer in the hours before this photo was taken. It was a brutal and senseless act that, at the time, seemed to have no explanation. After committing the murders, Tyler didn't call the police or seek help. Instead, he cleaned himself up, locked the bodies upstairs, and went downstairs to continue with the party. Later on in the night, Tyler confided in his close friend, Michael Mandel. During a walk away from the party, Tyler revealed that he had murdered his parents and that their bodies were laying in the upstairs bedroom. Michael, shocked and horrified, had to make a decision. He could have called the police immediately, but instead, he did something strange. He went back inside. He rejoined the party and continued to hang out with Tyler, taking the now infamous selfie that you are viewing.
We begin this midday with a breaking news. As we just brought you minutes ago, Tyler Hadley sentenced to life without parole for the July 2011 of his parents at their home in Port St. Lucie.
It is hereby the judgment and sentence of the court that as to both counts 1 and 2, the defendant be sentenced to life without the possibility of parole.
Tyler Hadley was eventually convicted of 2 counts of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The fact that he was able to go on partying just hours after killing them makes this story all the more chilling. Today, lady and ma'am, we are going over some of the most normal-looking images with absolutely terrifying backstories. We're going to go in order of slightly disturbing to absolutely terrifying. And I am warning you now, things are about to get f***ed up. Cheaha State Park in Alabama is a peaceful and beautiful place, a perfect spot for a quiet hike. It's a popular destination for both casual hikers and outdoor enthusiasts who come from all over to enjoy the serenity and breathtaking views. Jolie Callan was no different. After being invited, she agreed to go on the hike with her ex-boyfriend Lauren Bunner. Despite the fact that they had split up months before, Lauren convinced Jolie that they could still go on this hike together. He even posted a cheerful photo on social media, showing Jolie sitting in the car with a dog in her lap. But after they reached the top of a ridge, Lauren pulled out a .22 caliber pistol. He aimed it at the back of Jolie's head, and he fired. Lauren didn't even try and hide what he'd done. In fact, he did the unthinkable. He dumped Jolie's body over the edge of the cliff, and then, as if nothing had happened, he calmly walked away. Lauren called the police, not to report the crime, but to confess. In an eerily calm voice, Lauren told dispatchers that he had just murdered his ex-girlfriend. The authorities quickly descended on the scene, and Lauren was arrested without resistance. During the trial, it was revealed that Lauren had planned the murder for weeks. In the end, Lauren was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to 52 years in prison. Jolie's death was senseless, a tragic reminder that sometimes the people that we trust the most can be the ones who betray us in the most horrific ways. The photo Lauren posted during the hike, which once appeared innocent, would forever be tied to the dark fate that awaited Jolie. Graduation photos are supposed to be joyful, celebrations of a child's accomplishment as they take their next steps in life. But in this particular photo, there's something that makes it more unsettling than heartwarming. The man in this image is Dennis Rader, but he's not just any father. Dennis is one of the most infamous serial killers in American history, better known as the BTK killer. Rader, a seemingly ordinary man, carried out a series of brutal murders Raiders in Wichita, Kansas, from 1974 to 1991. He earned his nickname BTK, which stands for Bind Cha, a description of the sadistic methods that he used to end his victims' lives. Despite his dark secret, Raider led a double life. He was a family man, a church leader, and a respected member of the community. His wife, children, and neighbors had no idea that the man living next door was responsible for some of the most heinous crimes in the country. He taunted police and the media with letters detailing his. But for years, no one had any idea who he was. It wasn't until 2005 that Raider's double life unraveled. After decades of evading capture, a breakthrough in forensic evidence finally led authorities to him. Dennis Rader's arrest shocked the world, especially the people who knew him best. He had been living among them, hiding in plain sight. This photo of Dennis with his daughter on her graduation day is a stark reminder that the most ordinary, unassuming, and downright boring-looking people can sometimes hide the darkest secrets. This image that I'm about to show you is by far probably the most disturbing image I've ever seen. If you have a weak stomach, I would click off this video now. There aren't many words I can use to describe it, so I think it's best that I just show you. Please do not report this video. Summer camp is supposed to be a place of innocence, a time when young people can experience freedom and friendship and fun and, fun. I fucked up my script there. This image shows the anticipation and excitement of a group of young people arriving at summer camp. On July 22nd, 2011, a group of teenagers gathered at Utoya for the annual summer camp, hosted by the Workers' Youth League, a political youth organisation affiliated with Norway's Labour Party. For many of these young people, it was a time of fun and bonding, a peaceful getaway that would turn into a nightmare. Earlier that day, a bomb had exploded in Oslo, killing 8 people and sending shockwaves through the city. The attack, carried out by Anders Behring Breivik, was just the beginning of what would unfold on Utoya Island. Disguised as a police officer, Breivik arrived at the camp and began his ruthless assault on the unsuspecting teenagers. Armed with firearms, he hunted the campers down one by one. The attack lasted for over an hour, during which many of the victims tried to escape. Some swam across the cold lake, while others hid in the woods. But Breivik was relentless. By the time the ordeal ended, 69 young lives had been taken, making it the deadliest mass in Norway's history. The photo taken at the camp just moments before the violence erupted is haunting. It's a reminder of how quickly peace can turn into chaos, and some of the people in that image never made it out alive. The deep blue of the ocean can be beautiful, but for some, it's also a source of fear. The thought of diving into the depths of the sea, relying solely on a tank of oxygen to survive, is enough to make anyone nervous. The image that you're seeing here was captured by Gary Stempler. It shows 3 divers, one of them being Gary's wife, one being an unknown diver, and the last one being Tina Watson. The image seemingly looks pretty normal. It really doesn't show anything more than the blue hue of the ocean and the 3 divers floating. However, that is until you notice that something is wrong with the 3rd diver, Tina Watson. She appears to be floating a little more carelessly than the others, on a weird angle with her arms floating upwards. Tina Watson, captured in this image, is dead. In 2003, Tina Watson, a 26-year-old woman from Alabama, was on her honeymoon in Australia. She and her new husband, Gabe Watson, a certified rescue diver, had planned a diving excursion to the SS Yongala shipwreck, a popular site for scuba enthusiasts. What should have been a romantic and exciting adventure took a tragic turn. Just moments after they descended into the water, Tina experienced difficulties. She panicked, and in her distress, knocked Gabe's dive mask off. Gabe later claimed that he had resurfaced to get help, leaving Tina behind. By the time other divers reached her, it was too late. Tina was unresponsive.
Meantime, honeymoon killer Gabe Watson will stand trial for murder in the United States. He could get insurance payouts. Watson served 18 months jail in Australia after pleading guilty to the manslaughter of his bride. The trial is set down in February in Watson's hometown in Alabama.
While her death was initially deemed an accident, the circumstances surrounding it were kind of suspicious. Gabe's story seemed inconsistent with the evidence, and an investigation soon revealed that there was actually more to this story than met the eye. Questions were raised about whether Gabe had failed in his duty to assist his wife, and the case became the subject of intense media coverage. In 2008, Gabe was charged with manslaughter and sentenced to 18 months in prison. However, the case didn't actually end there. In 2012, Gabe was acquitted of murder charges in Alabama due to insufficient evidence. The mystery surrounding Tina's death remains unresolved, but I'm pretty sure it's obvious what happened. The chilling image of the three divers remains as a haunting reminder of the events that led to a tragic end. This is one of the most unsettling images in history, and at first glance, it looks like a simple lampshade. Nothing special, nothing to get alarmed about. But when you dig deeper, the true horror behind it becomes apparent. This lampshade is believed to be made from human skin, an artifact discovered at the Buchenwald concentration camp after World War II. Buchenwald, one of the most infamous camps, was the site of countless atrocities. Isla Kosh, the wife of the camp's commandant, was notoriously cruel. She was known as the Witch of Buchenwald, and it is said that she had ordered the creation of lampshades made from the skin of prisoners, particularly those with tattoos. These grim objects were meant to serve as trophies of the brutality that occurred at her camp. What do you guys think? Have I missed any images that you would like me to cover? Let me know in the comments below. Like, share, comment, subscribe.